This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I'm here with winemaker and viticulturalist Mike Simons at Stonier in Mornington Peninsula. How are you today, sir?
Good.
Now, you're just coming to the end of the 2011 harvest, so I won't take up too much of your time, but I had a couple of questions for you. What is it that makes the Mornington Peninsula such a special place to grow Chardonnay and Pinot Noir?
Well, very clearly it's obviously the cool climate, both being earlier ripening varieties, but the feature of the climate also is that it's maritime, which means we don't get those temperature extremes, and with those temperature extremes you get degradation of acid. Instead we don't get that, so we always get a lovely acid and I think an elegance to the wines. Chardonnay always has a mineral sort of elegance about it, while the Pinot has a lifted elegance about it, a almost floral, pretty character. So yeah, I think certainly the cool climate and that maritime influence. We're surrounded by three bodies of water. We've got Western Port behind us, and the Southern Ocean, and also the Port Phillip, which the bay that Melbourne sits on.
I think one of the great features we have is it's a maritime climate, so it's surrounded by water, which means we get some really nice breezes. What the breezes can do is, in years where you have a lot of disease pressure, and they can give you a lot of relief from that disease pressure. So I think what we're finding on the peninsula for the last couple of decades is that you're getting some really good consistency year in, year out with the fruit.
Mornington Peninsula is dominated by small producers. We have about 80 producers here, but as you can see from the landscape, these gentle rolling hills, little valleys, it doesn't lend itself to large scale viticulture and winemaking. We have over 200 vineyards, but only just over 1,000 hectares under vine. So the average vineyard is quite small, and all of the wineries are owned really by families, their family businesses, which is one of the wonderful things about coming here, which is that you are likely to meet the owners and the winemakers behind the brand when you come to Celador and to try the wines. We're all very focused on small volume but very high quality, doing everything really by hand, most things by hand, very little by tractor, but and really trying to get the best expression we can out of the site that we have to grow our grapes. And I think what I would say about Mornington is that you will find wines which are very expressive of their place. And this is not the sort of place that lends itself towards large corporate type operations. So we have very few sort of corporate businesses down here, and these family businesses are very close, where we have a great community here, where we share ideas, where we share our successes and our failures, and we do it in a way which helps all of us to sort of get a better result.
Could you tell me a little about the different types of soil that you have in Mornington Peninsula?
Yeah, the soil is, you always get transitional soils between the different types. The two main soils are a red volcanic basalt soil, which has different types of clay under it, depending where you are. We love that soil. It's a lovely friable soil, and that tends to be around Merricks where we are, and up at Red Hill and Main Ridge. And then you've got an older shale sandstone soil, which is 400 million years old, 10 times older than the basalt soil. But and that's an interesting soil too. That's in the more northern sub-regions of the peninsula, which is still cool, but not quite as cool as where we are.
With regards to where Australia is going in the future, where do you see Mornington Peninsula in that future?
Very much focused on Pinot Noir. I think this is the hub of Pinot Noir in Australia. There are a number of other regions that can do it well, not many, but there are a couple of other regions who are also doing it well. But we think that the styles coming out of Mornington are quite unique and will become more and more talked about, let's say.
How do we introduce people to the Pinot Noir and the Chardonnay from Mornington? Because many people don't realise that Australia actually makes Pinot Noir. The people in New Zealand tell us that you don't make Pinot Noir here and you make something else akin to Syrah, but that's just the New Zealanders. Sorry, I should wipe that.
That's okay.
So many people, when they think of Australia, they don't really think of Pinot Noir. How do I convince people that you make fantastic, cool climate Pinot Noir down here?
Well, the easiest way is to get a glass in front of them. We allow the wine to do the talking here. And of course the issue is how do you do that? So, fortunately we have a number of winemakers who are travelling and spreading the word, as it were. But unfortunately it is a long, hard road where we can only convince people by showing it to them in the glass. That's the only way we can do it.